We're on live, Jasmine.
Wonderful.
Welcome to the Jenna Wolf Show.
I know, I wish Jenna was here.
So do I, at some level.
She's speaking right now?
She's speaking in Vegas at the CES show.
What's the CES
The
show?
Consumer Electronics Show. She's speaking for Lose It is an app for weight loss. And
wow.
Sherry Stretch says, hi, Jasmine.
Hi. I know, it's been a minute, so I'm excited to be back. I'm just having Jenna withdrawal. So yeah, I guess I thought maybe I'd tell you guys a little bit about my story and how I became to be the sex columnist for the New York Observer, and see how much time you have. No.
Well, we have an hour.
Anyway, so I grew up in New York City, and both my parents are artists, and I went to Vassar College, and I took.
Where is Vassar?
It's in Poughkeepsie.
Oh, so it's like Hudson Valley.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's beautiful. I fell in love with the campus, and it's just a really special place. And so I really felt like I developed a voice there, and studied Shakespeare, and it was fantastic. And then I moved to Hollywood, so that was sort of like a little bit of a strange adjustment, because I had taken like all of these. I had a very utopian view of the world. I'd taken all these feminist theory courses, and then suddenly I was in Hollywood. And that's how I ended up writing, because I would write about my experiences, which were sort of these crazy sort of Hollywood experiences, and I needed to find some sanity in the whole thing.
And that gave you grounding?
That gave me grounding, and I started a blog, and I wrote for New York natives. It was called Star Fucked, with a star.
That was your column.
Yeah.
The New York
It was my column.
Is Camille Webster? Did she?
Yes, she was the one that I think ran that.
Oh wow! I should get in touch with her. Camille was.
Yeah.
She was very helpful on the malaria fight, actually, of all things. I
actually should get in touch with her too, because she was all part of the voyage of what.
We should get her on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how things sort of just
She was great. Like, I've seen her name associated with it, and I didn't reach out. She was really helpful on the malaria fight.
Oh, that's wonderful. How's that going, by the way?
The number of malaria deaths last year was around 300,000 compared to 1 million.
Got it.
About 12 years ago.
You also do pneumonia.
I helped World Pneumonia Day also,
You're basically like helping all illnesses.
Yeah,
because when I got walking pneumonia, you were like, that's my thing. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Next, when I get malaria, you'll be like, I'm all about that.
Yeah, it's all that.
Malaria what else do you do? What other illnesses?
The first one I did was pediatric cancer.
Wow.
Conversations. These are all pediatric things, but we started off the SOAN conference. A friend of mine actually had cancer and passed away 20 odd years ago. We started this thing.
But what does that have to do with pediatrics? Isn't that?
He was 27, but his goal, he was working when he was sick. He was helping kids go through the thing, and he was just a great guy. Actually, I went to high school with him, and then he ended up working at a hedge fund, Ira Sohn. And we started the SOAN conference this is going to be the 22nd year.
Wow.
And yeah, it's raised close to $75 million to fight pediatric cancer in the New York area. And now there's a SOAN conference.
Do you ever go and visit,
I went once.
We should do that sometime. Would you be up for that?
No.
No.
I find it, I guess I would. I would not say that I wouldn't.
But to go and
be helpful. Yeah, I kind of.
Or to support.
I would
children, I think they need to remember. You can't go in with doom and gloom.
Oh yeah, no. We have
you have to bring a sense of.
Well, that's what we've raised money. We've raised money to have clowns come in for places for them to play. I'm not real good at that. We hire professionals, but it's very I did say, like, when I went the first time with Ira's mom, I was like, this is a great trip. I never want to be back on this ward, you know. And like, we actually partnered with Eli Manning this year at Hackensack, and you know, to work with him, and he's been doing, like, going to work with the kids and all these people who the kids really want to see. I don't really know what they would benefit from seeing me, whereas, you know, sort of my work, I think, probably a little bit better behind the scene.
Or Jenna and I could go into.
Yeah, you guys can go into.
That
would be awesome. They actually, the conference is actually coming on the show. They're probably coming on the show in a couple of weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, like
so
to try to
have
awareness and all that kind of
absolutely.
stuff. So that's kind of where I concentrated my efforts. But yeah, like you asked, like, the one thing.
Here.
No, this is where I live. This is where this is Jenna was always asking me.
We're like talking over the cameras, and
but
like the cameras are literally like a wall.
Well, we did today. We actually had Jenna working out on we had on one of those chairs. Like we had the camera on the computer on one of those chairs, and it was like an iPhone thing.
Oh, wonderful.
So the conversation had actually had me on there, so I was a little like, I've had enough FaceTime to last me. Like,
yeah, you're like
my face is not
Charlie's Angels. What's his name?
Like, your face is made for TV. My face is made for being on the side of it.
No, your face is made for TV too.
Yeah. Your face is mediocre, and you nailed it. You're in exactly the right spot.
Stop it. Anyway, so I a little off track, but it was great. But anyway, so I went to Hollywood. I started writing that column, and that is when the New York Observer found out about it, and it started this whole new sort of exciting new chapter from actress to writer. And I still act, and I still see that as part of my future, and now it's kind of like all coming together, but I see myself being more in the writer's seat, producing and then acting from that. So it's funny how life sort of throws you these pivots. My girlfriend wrote a book called Pivot. I think it's called Pivot. But it's about,
did she?
Yeah. You should get her on the show.
We should. Who wrote the book called Pivot?
Jenny. And
that's a great name for a book.
Yeah. And so basically, it's all about sort of how in life we have these like turning points that we come to, and they're actually these wonderful, great opportunities. And at times they seem like they're scary and they're like you're losing everything, but in reality you're actually reshaping things, and it's an opportunity. So I'm all about that. I'm all about turning like these sort of things that kind of seem like they go awry and into something that actually opens up.
We've actually discussed on this show my favorite my favorite essay is this essay by Emerson called On Compensation.
Wait, I think you sent me
I must have sent that to you.
I loved it.
That's a lot like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's exactly that pivot point.
It's taking everything and saying, okay, you have two options. I mean, it's really like the glass half empty, the glass half full thing. You know, it's like, it's all perspective. And every second is a choice. Every second is a choice on whether you want to make that decision or not. Sometimes we do need a little wallowing.
Right, and sometimes you end up behind 4 or 5 phones in life.
Exactly. And you're like, how did I get here?
What exactly is going on?
A whole other thing, appears. So anyway, I wanted to give my background a little bit, and
we actually met through Ken. At the
Ken
Observer.
Person, the editor-in-chief of the Observer. We met through him, and you helped me with social media. You're like the guru, and So I was thinking like, what could we talk about today? And I know it's an interactive, so I'm open to suggestions. If anyone has anything they want to add, I'm here to answer your questions, but I wanted to talk about the holidays, and I am single, and so I think that there are times where it's that same perspective where you kind of look at things like half empty or half full. And I went to my brother, who's married, he's younger than me, his house for Christmas with my parents, and we were all together, and we were all staying there, and it was sort of like 2 couples and me. And I had like this moment where, you know, like these, you could have all of these successes in life and all of these things that are like, you know, where you're like, wow, I'm here. And then you're in this one moment that kind of brings you back to, you know, childhood or the sort of, and you're just, I was sort of like, what, is this my life? And I think that it's important to, and this comes back to self-acceptance, I think it really is important to accept where you are. And the problem is if you don't, if you go into the place of resistance, then that's where you get screwed. And so I think a lot of it was me resisting for a while, like, no, no, no. And finally, I came to a point where I started to like realize the wonderful things that about this time. I'm with my family, I'm with my sister-in-law, who I absolutely adore, I'm with my brother. And it is a choice. It's a choice to decide whether or not you want to like stay in that place, or you want to flip over and you want to sort of say, God, how incredible that I am here. And life is crazy. You never know what's going to happen. So it is a beautiful thing. So it's, I think so much, I think today's sort of theme, if I can kind of come up with one, is self-acceptance and sort of the choice that everyone has in each moment to make their lives better. And that doesn't mean that you can't experience the feelings, or resisting is not good. I don't recommend that. But so that's a big part. I mean, what about you in your divorce? I had to do that. That was for Jenna.
Okay, so for Jenna, which divorce?
Well, I know 3.
I've had 3. Yes, I don't know. Somehow, you and Jenna teamed up over this?
So, no, I knew she'd want me to ask you that.
Oh, okay. So in my divorces,
I'm telepathically communicating with her. I
appreciate it. You know, in my divorces, you learn a lot about life, and you could say glass half empty, glass half full. I'm not supposed to be saying on the show. Jenna doesn't want me saying so when I catch myself saying I now make a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, because she wants me to be a little bit better on camera, because I'm not that good on camera. Right. But what I learned from the divorces, and what I have from the divorces, is like if I didn't get divorced the first time, I wouldn't have the children that I have in this marriage, you know, this last marriage that just ended, and I have a great, you know, stepdaughter. I have a great daughter who's now they have, you know, my 5-year-old is the aunt to my 2-year-old grandson, and life has, you know, this way of providing you with as many great things as you will be willing to accept and push for. And so in that situation, you know, it certainly has come with challenges, and it's certainly, you know, I have a lot of scars on my back, but I have a lot of great things in my life, and my glass, and you know me well, my glass is always overflowing. It could be as empty. Other people would see it 99% empty.
I'd say. The other day that you went to a movie.
Oh yeah, so when I was
time on your hands.
When I've gone to movies.
You went to a movie and you decided to take that time and just go by yourself and enjoy a movie.
Right, that was like one of the things.
All of these stigmas,
when I first got divorced.
God, I can't see a movie by myself. I can't go have a meal by myself. I can't go to the bar by myself, because therefore everyone's gonna see
me. Yeah, like, and I just used to always, and I personally always looked down on people who were by themselves, like, you know. And when I was when I was married or whatever, I'd be like, what's that poor guy who's sitting in the corner by himself? And then when I was the poor guy sitting in the corner by myself with my newspaper and my coffee, I couldn't have been happier.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and that's like in just what
notions about what we think will make us
what's happy and what's not, in time alone.
You can be miserable in a relationship at a movie theater, and everything from the outside looks great. But on the inside, you're alone and you're dying inside. And I've had relationships like that where they're just so alienating, and I'd far rather be in my own body and happy,
and at least in control
and like sort of like taking myself out on a date. I mean, that's what the Artist's Way, Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way is all about, taking yourself on a date. And I think that's actually the way that you attract a really positive relationship, is sort of being
positive, and you control.
Positive in yourself. Now, I also think that we have this problem in our society where everyone's all like, be happy, choose the happy thoughts. Like that bugs the hell out of me, because it's sort of like that to me also doesn't feel authentic.
Right. A lot of people ask me how I'm doing a lot of times, and my answer is I don't know.
I think that's a great answer.
I have no idea. Most of the times.
That's a great answer, because I think that leads to like.
They're like, what do you mean you don't know?
Because often we say, like, we hold on to a word and we're like, oh, it's okay, or oh, it's great, and it doesn't feel authentic. And that actually feels very authentic to me when you're just like, I don't know. I'm here. I exist. Therefore,
right. And a lot of times when I think I'm doing great, I'm doing really bad.
Or a lot of times, I'm doing great, and then suddenly something happens.
Like, there's somebody else who's not,
right.
And so life has a way of doing that to you. Sherry Stretch is actually she's asked a couple of times, Sherry Stretch is asking if you were a former Olympian. You're not a former Olympian, you're a former figure skater, you were training.
Former figure skater, I trained, the Olympics were on my sort of trajectory, although I am 5'9", so I never really, that was more of a dream.
But you were training for it, and you were competitive.
I mean, I was training for nationals, and
you were in Colorado, right?
Like Colorado Springs, and I was in Canada, and that was a really intense experience, and that skating actually taught me a lot of self-love, because.
In what way?
Well, because I pushed myself so hard. I was young, and I think I didn't fully understand, you don't have the tools that you do when you're older, and I pushed my body beyond my limits because I wanted to achieve greatness, but I didn't listen to my body, and I didn't listen to my internal sort of scope, because I didn't really understand it at that time. And I think when you're young, you're just trying to please everyone around you on some level. And so I kind of went beyond my threshold. Like
I was like that in Hebrew school.
Yeah, tell me, but now you can't just leave me with that cliffhanger.
No, when I was younger.
Did you push too hard?
I wasn't like natural with it, and it was kind of, but you had to be a certain way when you were brought up a certain way.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Like you just struggle, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll try to be great at this, and it's just so unnatural, and it didn't feel right.
Well, for me, skating was definitely my choice. Like, I wanted to skate, but then it became a chore. Then it sort of, at a certain point, it became like something that was like a part of like my routine that my parents encouraged me to do, because it was like part of,
I wonder how your parents are like, because I actually like paint this. Actually, like when I paint, like when I started thinking about it as like a business, it became like, oh my gosh, wait, I need this as like a release.
Yeah.
And I had like these people wanting to buy, and I was just like, whoa, let me just concentrate on like the business side, and I lost it.
It's so important to keep that out. Like, I remember when I was writing, I would secretly write just for myself, like in Hollywood, and it was mine. And I was so afraid to publish it, and so afraid to publish any of my writing, because I didn't want to judge it.
Kafka never, like, all of Kafka's works were never published. Like,
I didn't know that.
He published, he was like, his stuff was all in like his draw, and then when he died, like The Trial, all these great, all of these great.
That was like always my thing. Like, am I gonna die, and like someone's gonna discover all of my writing in my computer?
Right.
But then I was like, that's so morbid. Like, I kind of want to like have a life and talk about my writing and be out there. But there's always that desire of like, keeping it to yourself, because judgment is hard. We're human, and no one wants to be criticized. But there's a different kind of criticism. One is sort of really negative, but the other helps you grow along. So
that cool cat here saying that that's confidence, Jenna. He's saying Jenna, but like I think he means Jasmine, that you should go for it. Or maybe I just read Jasmine. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's like the two J's. I mean, actually, my column's called the J Spot in the New York Observer.
Oh,
so
right.
Jenna could easily Jenna and I, Jasmine, Jenna. Like, really, it's sort of like it's just J.
And Joe Hodge says
Joe. He could be on our show too.
Right, there's another J. And Joe says fist pump Jasmine for that.
Oh.
Thanks for who you are, Jasmine.
Oh, thank you so much, Joe. That means so much to me.
And Sherry Stretch is laughing out loud. Happy Cat 33 says, just because you are blonde doesn't mean you aren't smart. What you have to say is worthwhile.
Thank you so much.
And you got a thumbs up from
Thank
Award.
you. Yeah, I think that was part of, like, in LA, I try out for these roles that were really superficial, and I just felt like there was this dissonance between how people perceive me on the outside and how I felt on the inside. And I think that's been a big part of my writing, is really exploring that, because whether it's being blonde or whether it's any different, there's so many dissonances in our culture. I mean, you look at Instagram and then it's completely glossy and like amazing, but all those people in there have feelings and are going through the things, and I think it's so important that we talk about them and that we be honest, you know?
Exactly.
I feel like you're going to say something like
I am. Rube Christie here. We introduced a new phone. Oh shoot, I'm not supposed to be saying We introduced a new phone live video feed for Instagram. Instagram live feed just started.
Yes, wonderful.
So some of the people in the Instagram room don't know who you are yet, and just to sort of let me just reset.
Absolutely.
This is the Jenna Wolf Show. That's not Jenna.
No,
okay,
not
this
Jenna,
is Jasmine
although-
Loeb. Jasmine is a regular guest on the
so
show,
much.
and it was one of our favorites, and she's on Thursdays. And so with Jenna's off in Las Vegas speaking at the CES show, the Consumer Electronics Show for Lose It, an app that she loves. So we're trying to carry on the show today without Jenna. This is Jasmine is guest hosting, and she's doing a great job.
Lovely.
So Louise Mullen over here is saying on Facebook, she's saying, "Land scars, whether real or metaphorical, are reminders of endurance and strength. Not holding on to regrets helps you appreciate just as you've shared. Thank you. You're more than welcome."
Absolutely.
We have Alan Layford joined. Hi, that's my brother. Hey,
oh, wonderful.
Margie Lucy says your Prince Charming will come soon, Jasmine, and gives you a heart. And Louise Mullen, who had actually made that comment, what I just read before, says building confidence is key too.
Yes, absolutely.
And she says, "So get you, Jasmine, couples and me." She's talking about when you were, I think that came across when you were talking about being at your brother's.
Oh, yes, my brother's for Christmas. My brother's place with his wife, and my parents were also there. It was my brother and his wife and me. My father and my mother in one room, and me on an air mattress.
You and an air mattress and a Christmas tree.
You know, but like, those are like great milestones, because one day I won't be on an air mattress by myself on Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, that's great, and I can look back, and also I had such a wonderful Christmas dinner, so, you know, you have to find those moments, but they're also worth talking about too, those hard mattress, cold, in a sleeping bag that smells like firewood moments, because that's part of what we all go through, whether it's being single or whether it's any aspect of our lives that at a certain point might be challenging, you know?
Absolutely. Sambo 2115 says confidence is definitely a huge factor. So what do you think about confidence? How do you build confidence?
I mean, confidence I think has been a big thing for me in terms of like building confidence. And I think that there's a big distinction between arrogance and confidence. And arrogance to me is based on insecurity. It's basically, you know, it's false. It reads false. It's sort of just kind of everything doesn't feel right about it. Whereas confidence, I think, comes from a place of self-acceptance and self-love and a sense that you deserve. And I think that many people I know kind of suffer from, do I deserve? And I don't know, I think that's partially being human and partially upbringing, and I don't understand why people sometimes have that, or that we all have, you know, different people have aspects of that. I'm not sure, but I do think that that's the difference.
I'm actually going to give you my daughter's version of this.
Ooh, I love it.
I'm going to put the camera on here for a second.
Amazing.
This is my daughter, and she gave a speech on confidence. And
So this is the one. This is confidence flower.
those are confidence flowers? What are
This is why. This is not a confidence flower. This is a roll flower. A roll flower is a stink flower.
A stink flower.
So we don't want this one. We want sunflowers. This is why we don't stink. Sun.
What?
Worst, best.
Which is
it's
best?
not a problem. Because confidence is a word for cool and awesome and thank you and welcome. It's an all confidence word, but that's nice. And every time
So she does.
Okay, I don't hear all of it.
But she wrote a book in school about confidence, and I had actually done these. I've been doing this work on. I've been doing a lot of work on flowers for drawing, and I had these two. I had these two things that I had drawn. One of them was like full of flowers, and one of them was like kind of empty. And she picked up the empty one, and she's like, "Oh, this one's really beautiful. Like, you should stop here. Like, you should have the confidence to stop here." And then she just like stood up and started giving this speech on confidence. The best and worst, they're basically the same. And I was just like, when did my 5-year-old become a Zen master? I was like, what's going on? So
wow.
It was really, she's like, and that's what I was saying earlier about like, she's such a blessing, and like all of the whatever nonsense and crap you go through, even just like getting like walking around with this sign that says like I've been divorced 3 times, like having that like neon lights over.
I feel like you took chances, like you went for it. Some people like will spend their life sort of isolating themselves. You dove in 3 times. And
I've always been very happy.
I'm impressed.
And so it is what it is. Like,
so I don't think you should fault yourself for that. I think that's actually great.
Yeah, no,
I went for it.
I did, and whatever.
You went for it, and you can't see it as a failure either, because you learned all these things, and you had
life goes on. Like, it's all great.
And
I literally couldn't be. I'm here. Right?
That goes back into our theme of seeing everything, seeing the glass
half full, and being confident, and like just knowing that, like relationships work out. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you're never gonna get married again," and I'm like, the hell I'm not. Like, why not? Yeah. Like, life goes on.
So I think I was thinking about another part of building confidence is really sort of finding the things in your life that you think you are doing a really good job with, and that gratitude for aspects of your life, and not seeing yourself as something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be. I read something about we shouldn't have necessarily resolutions, but we should sort of, I can't remember exactly what she said, it's on my Instagram, but we should be sort of that resolute, like we should inhabit it. It's sort of like that difference of like, instead of like this drill sergeant that's like whipping us, to sort of allow ourselves to be creative and not see ourselves from a place of like being flawed, but seeing ourselves from a place of being perfect. Not perfect in the sense of sort of, I think you guys know what I mean, like we're all perfect in our own ways. So I think that
perfection's
also,
the enemy of the good is actually my favorite saying.
I think it was Steinbeck who said like, I'm so bad with sayings, I mix them up all the time, and that's one thing about my memory I wish was better, but you know what? I'm perfect.
Right.
So I'm not going to beat myself up, but Steinbeck did say something great about perfection, and I'll have to get back to you about that, because
John says yes, you are. John from Cherry Hill has joined the room. He's back, so
and
he was welcoming you back.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's been way too long with the holidays and everything, but we'll get regular, and I'm excited for Jenna to come back because she's so much fun. Every time I'm here, I'm like leave all like pumped. Her energy is really infectious. So, so I think that's a big part of confidence. And I'm trying to think, what else do want to talk about?
We have a lot of comments here. So
okay, great.
KAG says, as a married mom of twin girls now, I wish someone told me to really enjoy the me time when single. And she says, enjoy the quiet sleep under a Christmas tree. And
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's right. It's like with everything, it's like, how do we be more present? How do we really, really take this moment in and find that gratitude,
Right. And
things change in a second. We forget that. Anything can change. You get this happens. So
Larry actually pointed out, I think he was giving me the Steinbeck quote, right? Is that, and now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. That was
Yes.
that was
Thank you,
Mr.
Larry.
Producer. Who is the pretty lady? I know Jenna's out of town. Romello won. This is Jasmine Loeb. Jasmine is, first of all, a good friend of mine. She's also a regular on the show, who is on Thursdays and
2 usually are the changes.
on 2, and she's in today because she's here. Jenna's in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas.
Jasmine actually, just for those of you who don't know, Jasmine actually is the sex columnist for The Observer. Candace Bushnell, who wrote Sex and the City, was the other sex columnist for The Observer. Jasmine basically has her job now.
Her column,
She inherited her column.
Big shoes to fill, so I kind of can't think that way. Otherwise,
But that's the role that Sarah
out.
Jessica Parker played on Sex and the City.
Yeah, I'm sort of like Carrie Bradshaw.
Is your role.
Sleeping under the Christmas tree on a cold mattress.
Well, I actually was with somebody the other night and we were watching the Sex and the City. I don't know how many movies they've had, but we were watching the Sex and the City movie where she got together with Big for like
right.
the 82nd time
Yeah,
or whatever.
I know.
So,
I mean, that's the thing is we all go through these, like, it's so human to mess up and to, to have those moments. So, and I feel like that's part of what I do as a writer is talk about my own personal ones. Because
right, and actually, there's a question from John on
Yeah.
that we can go into we can veer into a little bit of the personal, because I've heard you answer this before, but he was asking, when was the first time you lost your virginity?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually, so I was a late bloomer, which is kind of funny because now I write a sex column. But I think there's a lot of paradoxes in life because I'm not out running around, so it's like sleeping around, we're
right, like you're living a responsible life.
Right, yeah, so it's sometimes there are these like ideas of what,
Right, just because you're a former model and an actress
yeah. So I think part of it too is that being a figure skater kind of was like a very insulated world, and so I didn't really go to parties, and so I was kind of dorky. I was like kind of a dork in high school, or I was just like misunderstood, or it was like that figure skater, And then
Where'd you go to high school?
I started modeling, which was kind of like my like little ego,
Okay.
and that for me was like a way of saying like I'm not like just some weird like. Accept me, and it's all these things that we do to find a sense of like validation, but I was still terribly alone, and I went to a very small private school, so there weren't that many people to choose from.
Todd Yeti, to put this all in perspective, just asked a question for
Yeah.
you that I know is going to make you feel good. Wants to know if this lady is a god.
I think we're all God. I think we're all manifestations of God, but that's very sweet, and I hope that every day we remember our own sort of
Right, that's like a
godness.
Do you know Ashley Hawes, who's a
No.
model about your age? John was asking. It's his
No.
cousin.
Oh, cool.
Todd says you're fantastic.
Oh, thank
Louise
you.
Mullen said, okay, I think she's talking about my daughter, says your little cutie should be in your chair. Wouldn't it be cool if she chatted with Jenna one day? She's so fit in my class here in London, UK.
Aww.
Yeah, kids say the best things in ways adults wish they could.
I know,
Absolutely.
I know, because they're in the moment.
Pinkie Pie Guy says, why is there a Union Jack if you're Americans? So that's actually
Is there what?
a Union Jack, the painting over there.
Oh, aren't you auctioning this?
We're auctioning it off. I actually did it, and we are selling that. We are selling that painting on eBay now. I think, John, we're gonna avoid that, please. So with the.
And then I still have to talk about my first kiss.
Oh, you have to talk about your first kiss. So basically.
No, my first kiss when I lost my virginity.
Oh, okay. Go back to your virginity.
Yeah. No, but what were you saying, Liz?
So whatever I was saying, he was asking about why the flag is there. So I basically painted a bunch of flags. That wasn't that bad, I know, but we're trying to keep this, John, I'm just trying to keep the show on track a little bit.
Got it. Okay.
So
we'll be back to auction these.
We're back to, so we're I have a lot going on over here.
I love that. Did you make this?
Yeah, so we have that's part of those hearts.
I love this. This is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Will you make me one?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
awesome.
Those are no problem.
Okay.
I was not drunk when I painted it. A lot of people, when they see my paintings,
no, that's amazing. That's you and your like
right. Like people think
like,
I get high. Like actually, like I painted a car, and when I painted the car, Connor, this is you. When I painted the car, people thought I was high.
Painted a car.
A car. Like I painted 2 cars.
You painted a picture of a car.
No, I painted a car.
Oh, you painted
like a BMW
car?
on a car. I painted these hearts on a car.
Any car?
I did one
like,
for, like yeah.
You painted hearts on a car.
On a car, without touching the car. One was for charity. One was a company that I have been working with asked me.
But the heart stayed on the car.
The heart stayed on the car, like they were a car.
Like forever.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like struggling with
yeah,
this
so like when people were
car.
looking at me, they thought I was high.
Right.
And
but you weren't.
I've never done drugs, and
right.
I think maybe my mind is in a place that I don't need to do
we
drugs
all
because my mind is in that
high.
place.
Yeah, I think it's
like
very
just naturally.
possible. Yeah.
So everybody here on Periscope doesn't want to hear more about my
car,
and has more. They want more Jasmine and less Lance, which is typical of the Jenna Wolf show. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm sorry.
You do this
I get a lot of
purpose.
this.
You do this on purpose. Actually, this is about desire. I don't know if anyone knows about Esther Perel, but she's this amazing speaker who writes about sex and talks about sex, and you can watch her TED speeches. But she talks about desire, and that's what actually makes a relationship spicy, is this sort of like, longing. And so it's like, how do you find desire, keep desire in a relationship when you've been in a relationship for a long time? And her recommendation is, still keeping certain aspects of the mystery and also finding your joy. And so that creates like, even when everyone is, comes into this world alone and leaves this world alone, and, but we all have our own things, and that bring us joy, and that's sort of what creates that sense of connection and longing, is when someone's in their place of like the zone,
Well,
so
yeah, the rabbis actually had as a sex columnist, we should talk about that, because the rabbinical approach to that was when a woman has her period in Orthodox Judaism, and I really don't mean to be...
Okay, I'm already starting to get annoyed.
No, I don't mean to be saying this the wrong way. But there are specific rules in Orthodox Judaism about when a woman has her period.
I love how a lot of religions are all very sort of like, the men sort of come up with these rules, and women are sort of somehow like...
Well, but what they tried to do, I think it was not to do that they're dirty. I think what they wanted to do was keep the spice in the relationships. So
blame it on the woman.
So during that period, no pun intended, there's basically like close to a 2-week time frame where the man and woman are not allowed to even touch. And then the woman goes to some place called the mikvah.
Right.
And for Jewish women, Jewish women feel this is a beautiful, they feel this is a beautiful way, and
that's interesting.
Of doing it.
I think the thing is as long as they feel it's beautiful, and if they're cool with it,
they love it.
Then are you just saying that?
No. Like my my former sister-in-law was like the head of the women's mikvah. Yeah, so the women love it. Like they think it does.
Okay, so as long as
I think it's because they get to get away from their husbands for 2 weeks. I don't know, but it's a great thing.
But
anyway, everybody wants to get back to your virginity over here. I apologize.
Virginity. Okay, all right.
We're back.
All right. Okay. Actually, losing my virginity wasn't that like an amazing story. It was more of the first kiss.
It's probably better than my rabbi story, I think, is what they're saying.
So yeah, I was in college when I lost my virginity, and I was a really late bloomer, and I remember, the first attempt at a kiss was in college. I had my first kiss in New York, but my first attempt at a kiss was this guy who invited me back to his room to show me his artwork. It's like I'm having deja vu. And he invited me back to his room, and I really thought he wanted to show me his artwork. And he just lunged at me, and I screamed and I ran out. So that was my first attempt. The second one is, and it's funny, as a writer, I'm super graphic. When I speak about sex, sometimes I'm a little bit more modest. It's just like how I am. Maybe I'll get over that at some point. But anyway, so there was this other guy who I liked, and this was probably like 2 weeks later. I went to his room, and now, like, mind you, his room was like next to my room. Like, we were all in dorms, so it was like everyone. There were co-ed bathrooms. I mean, you know, it was just like college, you know. And
Vassar was
Vassar is co-ed.
Is co-ed,
but it has a real strong women's.
But it was a women's. It was originally.
It used to be like Meryl Streep went there. Jane Fonda. There's a great story about Jane Fonda when she went there. She was so kick-ass. They used to have these tea parties where the women would have to wear gloves and pearls, and she didn't wear her gloves or pearls, and she came down, and they were like, you need to wear your gloves and pearls. So she came up. I'm getting confused with the ups and downs, but then she came down back to the tea area in just her gloves and pearls, and this was like in the middle of the 70s. This was like the 60s movement and feminist movement, and so like those stories like were part of my college experience. Those are really great as like a woman. It's so kick-ass, you know. And I think the men really were excited by that too, because I mean, we should all be feminists. Men, women, I mean, it's all about equal rights and just appreciating women. So anyway.
As the father of daughters, yes.
Yeah. So I got sidetracked. But anyway, then I went to this guy's room and we started kissing, and I felt, Lance, this is like you're like looking up.
I need my phone back.
So I went to his room and I felt something on my stomach, like something hard, and I freaked the fuck out.
You did?
And I ran away.
And what was it?
I don't know. What do you think it was?
A potato.
Yes!
That's our word, actually, with my kids. That's our word for everything. Like, anytime they want to say a bad word, I've encouraged them to say potato instead of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you found a potato.
So that was sort of like, and then I met my boyfriend probably a couple weeks later. I think it was November, and I remember seeing him in the cafeteria, and you know, sort of looked at him and I was like, wow, he's really hot. He was a senior, I was a freshman, and like we're around the food, and then I didn't know if I'd see him again, but I did. Some of it's foggy, but somehow we ended up on a date, and I remember our pinkies touched. It was like the thrill of pinkies touching, you know? And that's what's so great, though, is when you meet someone new, no matter what, there's still that innocence, there's still that thrill, you know? And then from there, we started to date, and I had sex. And I thought, I didn't know if I knew I would eventually, but it was like one of those things. I was 18.
Better or worse than you thought it was going to be?
Oh, it was really amazing. It was amazing.
So it was better than you thought it was going to be?
It was better, yeah.
And where is he now?
He got married.
What? So what's the matter with him getting married?
No, it's great that he got married. No.
It didn't work out.
I broke up with him after 2 years because, you know, I needed to explore the world. I obviously had my destiny as a sex columnist waiting for me. Right. And I needed to know what I was talking about. So we broke up, and
So over here on the ADHD scope or the ADD scope, John had been asking me for you to get to the sort of virgin story. Right. But he has spent on the ADD scope for the last 5 minutes in the transition from my rabbi story. He sort of glossed over the virginities.
What are ADD?
Like the attention deficit disorder.
Oh, I know what that. I thought it was a kind of like.
He has like attention deficit disorder because he got, while you were telling the virginity story, he started asking. He wanted to know if you've ever had a bi experience, an experience with a woman.
Oh, actually, my first kiss was a woman.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a dare. I was, I feel like, come by my fire, like, you know, by the campfire.
Right.
Like, let's have some marshmallows and let me tell you about my first kiss. My first kiss I was with some people, some friends, and everyone knew I hadn't kissed anyone. I was 17, which was so embarrassing at the time because I was modeling, and I remember the kids in high school were like, oh, you must be dating models. And I was like, yeah. But I had never kissed anyone. I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, it's like these big things that lie ahead in life, and they seem to be so huge, and you don't know if you can live up to them, you know? Especially when you've never done them. I mean, I feel like that a little bit about marriage and having kids. It's nice you can get divorced, though, Lance.
Yeah, it's all good, you know.
But
I encourage you to get married.
No, I want to get married. I definitely do. You know, I just want to get married to someone that makes me happy. You know, I don't want to.
I know.
I
Yes.
mean, not
like you don't want to get someone who makes
like,
you sad.
Right. Exactly.
Or just
exactly.
Funny. I don't know much about marriage, but I got that.
Right.
I actually maybe know too much about marriage at this point.
So anyway, so I was at my friend's house, and we were all together, and we were hanging out, and there were a bunch of people, and my friend knew that I hadn't kissed anyone before, and there was a dare. There was this girl who actually, I'm not going to say who it is, but who happens to be a celebrity, because I grew up in Soho, but
okay.
She, like, basically, I mean, not because I grew up in Soho, she's a celebrity, that makes no sense, but basically, because growing up in Manhattan, and, you know, there are a lot of people kind of conglomerate.
Sherry Stretch is asking if it was Jenna. I don't think Jenna grew up in Soho. I think Jenna was in Haiti.
So anyway, the point is that there was a dare. This is a fun story. There was a dare, and I faced a choice, and everyone was like, kiss her, kiss her, kiss her. And I knew that if I didn't kiss her, I'd be labeled a prude, right? Because it's like, I had like 5 people, and they were all like, I felt super cool. I mean, these were like, there was like a supermodel there. Like, I don't know how I ended up in this crowd. I was so dorky, and I like somehow thought, I was like, I have to prove myself by kissing this girl. So I went in for it. I went in for the kiss, and I remember, and she was very beautiful, and I remember just like her lips were so soft, and I just felt like it was so like gentle and loving, and then she just stopped it. And that was my first kiss.
So you wanted it to go longer.
But this I did. I was just getting into it. It was like my first kiss.
And did you kiss them? Did you get involved with women subsequent to that, or was that your only experience?
No, that was only my only experience. But sort of. But
what do you mean?
Oh,
Well, you opened up sort of.
So, but anyway.
Okay.
I love, this is what happens when Jenna's not here. I basically tell like all of my secrets. But this is what I do as a writer, and these are all, like, I'm working on a book right now, and this is all going to be in my book. And so this is sort of like, I'm working it out here with you guys. Yeah, tell me what you like, and what, you know, what you don't,
parts?
and then people like the sexy parts, right? So
yes.
Okay, so basically what happened, but this is the part that was really upsetting. So I all of a sudden, everyone was celebrating me. It was this moment where I was like on top of the world. Everyone was like, yay, congratulations, Jasmine, you kissed me. And I was glowing, and it was like I had won the award of kissing, and it was just so incredible. And then this girl, who came up to me, and she was like, darling, you know, she's kissed like everyone in Manhattan. You know, you really should wash your mouth out with soap. And so suddenly, and she was like, you can get mouth herpes. So suddenly, I thought I was going to get mouth herpes. That's how
I'm hopelessly naive. What are mouth herpes?
I was freaked out. She said, you should really wash your mouth out with soap. And she had this like faux British. I don't like talking badly about people. It was like one of those pivotal moments.
It was anonymous. Like you've been anonymous.
Yeah, I've been anonymous. Exactly. So she went into the bathroom with me, and she held a bar of soap, and she gave it to me, and I put the soap in my mouth, and I washed it, and it tasted bad, and I was confused because I didn't fully understand, and I realized that maybe there was more going on than mouth herpes here. And so I put it, then I started washing it, and it tasted terrible. I started choking. And then she was like, okay, I think that's enough. And she walked out and closed the door, and I heard her squeal with delight. Then I came out of the bathroom, and then suddenly I felt so deflated. and something that was so exciting and that I felt so like joyous and so full of life and beauty and the excitement of youth suddenly washed out of my mouth. And that was a real experience of how other women can be pretty detrimental to other women. And yeah, I think that, their jealousy exists, but I think that we always, no matter what, have to rise above our jealousy, because there's enough room for everyone. And sometimes emotions will be stirred within ourselves that we don't like, but acting upon it is something else. And that was a really detrimental experience to me. But at the same time, I can tell it, and I moved through it. So that was my first kiss. It ended with a bar of soap.
Larry points out that women can be that way to men too, I think.
I'm sure, yeah, men can be that way to women. I mean, it's,
right.
I had a boyfriend who, when I was 23, went in to kiss me, and instead of kissing me, he said, you really have dark circles under your eyes. And I was 23 years old. He was 15 years older than me. And I of course have thought about the dark circles under my eyes for days. He actually got me a cream. Meanwhile, he was approaching 40, and I think he was having his own issues.
Got it.
So I think that we all have to really watch out how we...
John says you're perfect.
Oh, well, we're all perfect. Even on bad days.
Well, now that you know you're no longer perfect, you can be good.
Exactly.
Let me just read some more things. We only have like 5 more minutes left here. Allison Henderson is locked on the road picking up my kids from school. I love being a mom.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait to be a mom myself.
Margie was saying how this is back to my daughter. How cute is my daughter? Thank you, Margie. She's adorable. So we got this mostly covered. We're covered here. We're good. We're caught up. You have 5 more minutes. Take us home.
Yeah. So, you're making faces.
Oh no, I read. Ignore my face. It's I'm trying. Like a lot of times, I just struggle to. You remember when I had my eye surgery? I struggle just to see just to see the camera sometimes with the with what's going on here.
So that I think that
So was this better or worse than you thought it was going to be?
This was so much fun. I think partially because everyone's so friendly and welcoming, and it's nerve-wracking being on the just sort of, especially when you don't entirely know what you're going to say. But I feel like I've had so much fun. I feel like I've been in a conversation room with everyone, and it's been great opening up.
Right. Sherry Stretch says it went fast, and Larry loves your positivity.
Oh, so, thank you. Thank you.
It's all.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited for Jenna to get back. She's such an inspiration, and I mean, she is like the epitome of health and humor, and just like she's so positive, and so it's so much fun being with you guys here. Read my column. It's called The J Spot. It's in the New York Observer.
So just add Observer. You can just follow it.
Yeah, if you either type in my name, it's Jasmine Lobe, L-O-B-E, like frontal or ear, and you can type that in either Observer. My last piece that I wrote was called Brave New Woman. It was sort of a satire on women in this sort of Trump era. So maybe next time I'll read that one to you. I had a lot of fun writing it, and some people actually
sounds like a great one. I have a couple of questions from here, and then we'll take it out. I have a question from John. Have you ever dated an athlete? And then a follow-up question to that was from Larry, who is a comedian. Would you date a comedian? So those are the questions, and that's.
I don't know if I've ever dated a professional athlete, but I definitely have dated athletes for sure. I mean, I think I get the mind frame of an athlete, the dedication and but that same dedication and sort of obsessiveness I get, and sometimes I have to curtail a little bit because you can really push yourself. So it's like, I'm all about balance. But yeah, I love to date an athlete and a comedian, absolutely. I mean, taking I mean, comedy stems from, it's the same sort of transformation, taking like all of these aspects of life and bringing humor to them. I mean, that's how laughter is a way that we heal, and it's hilarious. I'm a big fan of Louis C.K.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I just love, he's just so like, yeah. So, and he speaks so many truths, and I think that it's so important that those are out there, you know?
Rick Rosell is saying, what are some of the things that make such a brave woman like you? Larry is saying that you're very wise. And John wants to follow up with a final question, which is, would you date a married guy from Cherry Hill? Judge John from Cherry Hill. Amen. Jasmine, this has been awesome.
This has been awesome.
And we look forward to seeing you again next week. We look forward to having Jenna and all of you back next week. For those of you who had to spend 4 hours with me, Sans, Jenna for 3 hours, Sans, Jasmine for 3 hours, I'm sorry that you had to all put up with me.
Williamsburg.
We did. We went back and forth. I tried to do the best I can. And for the person who, Larry, thank you for bidding $1 on my artwork. I appreciate it. And it's. I hope that everybody has a great night, and I look forward to being with everybody tomorrow. And Jasmine, look forward to seeing you again next week. And have a great night, everybody.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks so much.